anytime, anywhere. Access inspiration that never switches off. Stuck in traffic? Elevate your mood and own the moment. Just looking busy? Make every second count. Tap into Kingdom content instead. One tap, instant power, real transformation. Download the Elevate TV app now. Exclusively on Google Play.
I was there last year.
We were here.
Every session was breathtaking.
Very transformational.
And this year, 2025, we are back.
This July at Uhuru Park Gardens, Nairobi City, 17th to 19th July from 9 a.m.
We want to invite you for the Standing Strong Ministers Conference 2025.
Let's all gather in the presence of the Lord.
This is the theme, but you be strong and do not let your hands be weak, for your work shall be rewarded. 2 Chronicles 15:7.
Be ready for a great encounter.
You'll see the grace and the glory of God.
With the host, Apostle David Juma, stands a battalion of purpose-driven guest ministers. Bishop Kefa Omaye, Pastor Asunta Juma, Bishop Dr. Titus Masika, Prophet Paul Mwaniki, Pastor Timwangi, Pastor George Masharia, Apostle Othniel Mwabili, and Bishop Mark Kegohi. Worship ministers Jane Alla, Mercy Masika, Apostle John Wesley, and Fred Obare.
You are most welcome. Prepare yourself. Let's come.
This is something you don't want to miss out on.
Don't miss this meeting.
And it is absolutely free. Yeah.
See you at the Standing Strong Ministers Conference 2025.
Elevate TV, advancing kingdom lifestyle.
Good evening, wherever you are listening to us from. Welcome to another episode of the Gigi Report. I'm your host, Godfrey Gichuki, and I'm very excited to have you joining us on this set this evening. I tell you what, as usual, we're going to bring you a big, bold, and honest conversation, and join us, share with your friends, and let us get this conversation going. Today we are talking about the quest for justice, and we are asking, what is the end game? And of course, Kenyans understand what this is all about, because we know that there is this major political situation in our country where we have the Gen Z, the so-called Gen Z movement, and and the protests and all that. We've gone through so much trouble in this country, but today I believe that with the guests I have here on the set, we're going to try and make sense of what's going on right in our nation. So welcome. Let me ask my guests to briefly introduce themselves. I have with me on the extreme left Levi Ndonga. Levi is a young man, as you can tell, and with some qualifications as an international relations, international relations and diplomacy. That's a career he's developing, and he's already earned a bachelor's for it, I think, and so he is here. So Levi is a very good young man, and of course a Christian. I know his dad, so I won't tell you more. But he's gonna be introducing himself and inviting you to join us with the conversation. And of course, me and near left is Matthew Omondi. Matthew is an engineer and specializing in actually selling heavy equipment, plant and equipment, and he's also a student pursuing data science. So yes, here we are. Let's dive into this amazing conversation. So let's start with you, Levi.
Yes.
Please look at the camera,
Okay.
introduce yourself, and invite your friends to join us in this conversation.
Okay.
Let's have an amazing conversation.
Thank you, Bwana Gigi. My name is Levi Ndonga. I'm a young man, yes, but I'm maybe older than I look. I'm in my late 20s. I have a degree, as I said, in international studies and diplomacy, also history as well. But tonight I'm here in my capacity as a National Youth Director for all OAG Ministries, that is the Oasis of Abundant Grace Ministries, both the ministry and its affiliates or sister churches. Thank you so much for having me. I've been longing to be here, to be able to spend time with you and maybe to spar a little. So thank you.
Karibu sana. Yeah, I've been telling people I'm going to ask you guys a lot of questions, but I'll let you do the talking. All right, Matthew. I think you can look at that mid-row camera. I think that's the right one for you, and invite your friends to join us in this conversation.
Yes, my name is Matthew Omondi, holder of diploma in mechanical engineering, construction plant option, works as a sales engineer in one of the profound organization. I'm also a student at ZTech pursuing data science, diploma in data science again. I also come to this capacity as a leader. I'm also a youth leader in Apostolic Life Church International Church, and I serve under the same ministry with the Pastor Gigi. Yeah.
Wonderful. Welcome, Matthew. Welcome, Matthew. We dragged you into this conversation, and we thought, no, look, we must have Matthew here to spar it out with Levi. And so I'm very, very happy and excited to have you guys. So I want us to start right from the big talking point, the quest for justice. So I really want us to start by, what does justice mean for you? You know, because we're pursuing justice, so we must have an idea of what we are talking about. So Levi, you know, everybody's saying we want justice. I've just seen a post, justice for someone else. Wow. So what is justice for you? And what's your understanding? So say as much as you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Before I get to answer your question, I think it's important that we're having these sort of conversations, and maybe it's a bit sad that we're having these conversations after the fact.
Right.
Maybe it would be more beneficial or profitable if these conversations can happen as consistent as we can. But having said that, I'm here in my capacity as a youth director for many churches, and therefore I draw my inspiration from what the good book highlights that justice is. And basically what justice is, as by record of what the good book is, the Bible, for the sake of us who don't know what I mean by that, is simply being the voice for those who do not have a voice.
Right.
I think the best explanation would come from the book of Isaiah. I think it's 7:15, or if not 1:15. I'm not very good at quoting the exact scripture. What I know, it is written.
Yes.
That's the most important thing.
Yes.
It is written.
Yes.
So the voice for the voiceless. And another thing the Bible declares is that it is also taking up a cause. Justice is a cause that must be undertaken. It's something that it's a weight you must put on your shoulders. You just don't watch from a distance. You're not silent from a distance. You don't just give very shallow and small encouragement here and there. It's a burden you must bear on your shoulders.
Right.
So for me, I think in the context of what you're talking about, Gen Z and all these things, I applaud the many young men and women, and even the young at heart, though advanced in age, who are taking up a cause. I think that is the best explanation, at least for me, what justice would be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Taking up a cause, pursuing a cause.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So Matthew, for you, what's justice? What is justice? Because everybody's talking about I'm pursuing justice.
For me, justice is simply a balance where either of the parties get the equal measure of judgment or reward.
Okay.
For example, if you check the logo for most of the law firms, there is kind of a balance, which is they are trying to weigh something. So at the point when the balance has been reached, that's when we say that there is justice. For example, you are measuring a weight against weight, you will add until there is a complete balance. So even for this case, what I can say, if the weight goes much on one side, we are going to miss the justice, the balance.
Okay.
But if it is going both sides, a little weight here to counter the other weight, there is a balance. Yeah, for example, in this case, the quest for justice, the ongoing demos and whatever, it's something that I can call it a balance when both the parties reach a focal point.
Yes.
And for every balance to be there, meaning there is an external force that adds the weight,
okay,
or reduces the weight until there is a balance.
Okay.
For this case, what we can say is forces like the church, forces like mediators, forces like peaceful organization, when they come together, then they put these two people together and tell them, check, we are here. Actually, you are on the way balance.
Okay.
Now, since there is an offset, we don't want that offset. Do this, sit down, put a little weight here, put a little weight there until there is equality.
Okay.
That's justice for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, the Bible says that the Lord abhors an equal weight.
Yeah.
And I think for me, justice has to do with everybody getting their measure, whether it's a reward or punishment. Justice should be done or seen to be done to the extent possible. All right, so so I want us to kind of have a quick reflection. How did we get here? And maybe for our viewers, just to give them context, and that's what really we want to do. 2022 we had an election, and usually it comes at the end of the year, August. By end of September we had a new administration, and then of course they formed government, the elected president formed government. 2023 started off with a new administration, and they were firing off and going on until 2024 last year. There was this conflict or controversy around taxation. So and then of course there was a hue and cry. I think the tax is unfair. All this controversy around there. So my question is, how did we get here? Why were we not able to resolve the arguments then, and which, as far as I can tell, they have precipitated the situation we have here? From your own point of view, Levi, what do you think led to where we are today?
That's a good question. Maybe we can give us some sort of, in addition to the context, on the basis of what the Constitution is.
Yes.
Or if we could speak to the philosophy of what the Constitution is, in the simplest terms that I would give would mean it is simply a contract between people and an elite group of people who the give and take here is we've made this contract, which is a constitution. In it, there are certain stipulations. For example, rights, particularly rights, okay? So we have natural laws, political, social, all of that stuff is enshrined in this constitution.
Yes.
And what we will do is that we are going to elect or appoint a few people who are going to stand guard on our behalf over these stipulations in this contract. And in return, one of the things that we will give in for that is the issue of taxes. So the reason why taxes are important is because they express a certain value in this exchange, whereby we say we are giving, for every 100 shillings we have, we are giving you 40 shillings. This 40 shillings is meant to actualize, to effect and to affect your ability to maintain whatever is stipulated in this contract. So at any given point when either sides, both we the people and the elite, in this sense when I say elite I mean the political class,
Right.
if either parties breach this contract, then again we have to go back to that contract and check what are the measures that need to take place in regards to remedy whoever has breached this contract.
Right.
So I'm just trying to add to say the reason why the whole conversation around taxes blew up the way it did is because for us, we the people, we esteem value to the taxes we are giving, especially since we expect them to be some sort of security or I think an idea of helping enablement to this political class to see that whatever is stipulated in the constitution is adhered to. So the problem came in when we the people, were categorical, and we said there are certain laws, there are certain things that you're introducing into this contract that we do not agree to. Okay?
Yeah.
And therefore we had the yes and no vote for the 2024 finance bill. And we all know how that went like.
Yep.
The situation there was, we the people were expressing that we do not want this. But in a very crass act, the people who we have appointed and elected to do the exact thing that I described earlier went on ahead and I think spat in our faces, and they did what they did. So for me, that is, and by the time we get to the demos and the protests and all that, there had been weeks, if not months, of this conversation.
Yes.
Online and everywhere, people were talking about it. So it was not, people did not wake up one morning and make the decision.
Right.
There was a constant expression from the people, and there was a conversation that was ongoing for weeks, if not months.
Yeah.
So I think that became the trigger of to where we are right now. Yeah,
Okay.
that's how best I could describe it.
All right.
Yeah.
Matthew, what do you think? Maybe there's something he's left off that background of how we got to where we are now. It's really like down to, we are now counting bodies. We're talking about death, people's lives lost. Now we are no longer talking about reject finance bill. Is justice for this person, justice for so and so, abductions, things like that. All this confusion. You're part of the story.
Yeah, I would like to give the part of my story with a little bit historical background. Not much, but I will pick it from the time when the late President Kibaki, His Excellency, joined the government. There are things that he did, and people are still willing to see such kind of things. And you see, such kind of things, what I can say that every generation faces its own battles.
Right.
So what he did, he gave some of us, I am a beneficiary of that free education.
Okay.
So when we entered the system, we got when things are now a little bit, I can learn, I know things, I will go to school, pay nothing, the parent will only go for uniform and whatever. Then he did his part, manage with maybe faults, because every government has got its own weaknesses. That reached. Then we moved to the 2012, 2013 campaign, and there was a huge campaign and there were a lot of promises. And even the current president was with the former president. And you remember when they were promising of the laptops, tablets. Actually 2013, I was in class 8.
Okay.
So I was like, I wish ninge repeat. I would have repeated so that I use the laptop. So you see such a thing,
Yeah.
It was a promise.
Yes.
So that same generation that was promised laptop,
Yes.
they are currently grown-ups.
Yeah.
We are now in our late 20s again. You
Yes.
see how time flies.
Yes.
Then comes the 2017.
Uh-huh.
There are a lot of promises.
Right.
Each and every county was to have a international stadium.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember?
Yeah, I think
Standard
I remember.
kind.
Yeah, they were being broadcast on national
Everywhere.
television. Yes.
The campaign was heated. People were speaking. And again, we were in high school. Though we are being accused that we were the kind of people who are burning schools.
Yes.
But though those things are happening, not
Yes.
all Gen Zs in the country burnt the school.
Yeah.
If they all burnt the school, then there will be no any left place for studying.
We wouldn't be talking of.
We will be
the
talking
school,
of
the
school.
school system would have collapsed.
Will have collapsed.
Yes.
So we grew in that manner promises. So what I can say, the current president is just unlucky that is now dealing with the end stage, the mature stage of the same promises that were promised under President Uhuru, the 10-year. Then again now, he is in the middle of the crisis.
Yes.
So you see, such a thing makes it even more interesting in the current arena that we were promised this thing. The same people are still there.
Yes.
But I'm very sorry for the current president because he has to face it.
Yes.
Because it is something that has accumulated. I've heard him also say that, yeah, well, these things during the time of so and so, there were no such kind of uprising. I think he is just unlucky because it has come to a point when the same people whom they were promising times back are now here. Then again, the political class adopted a very funny strategy.
Yes.
They will amass and show off before people. And people will be like, if we took you there to represent us, what changed? Now you are representing your own ideas, your own agenda, you flows around. Like, you know, it's like...
I remember that controversy, yes.
It is now like, how do you call this artist? This celebrity kind of life, instead of diplomatic kind of life.
Okay.
So I think that's really something that has really led to the
you guys got very offended because even right now they would be checking our shoes to see whether they are Calvin Klein.
I think yours are the better ones.
Yeah, I would be guilty. I would be guilty of of some designer shoes or something like that. Yeah. So and I'm sure I agree with you, Matthew, Levi. True, I agree that there was something that led to where we are.
Yeah.
And so how do we then deal with the reality that these arguments just continue to plague us? There are no solutions. I see this whole, how do we get justice? Maybe that's the question. Broken promises. What else do you think? Okay, sometimes I keep asking myself, what exactly is the problem we are dealing with here? We can deal with I suppose we can deal with, if the president promises and he lied to us, so he's such, can we not live with that, or what's the issue here?
You see, what you've just suggested, or the question you've posed, can we not live with that? That's what Kenya has been doing for decades.
Yes.
So the reason why this is a momentous, I think, time or season is because for the first time we have people who are saying we do not want to live like that.
Okay.
So the gist, the bone of the meat is that we have been applying the same solutions to the same problems since time immemorial.
Okay.
And for the first time we are saying, guys, let's wake up. We are mad people for doing the same thing expecting different results.
Okay.
In Kenya, every single time there is quote unquote an uprising or people are in protest for whatever reason.
Yeah.
The resolve has always been to dialogue.
Okay.
And dialogue, personally, I being a student of diplomacy,
yes,
I champion for dialogue.
Correct.
But one of the key proponents of dialogue is that both parties must be willing to dialogue. Yes. Willingness in this sense is both parties must be able to listen to one another. So what happens in this country is the political elite does not have the patience, the tolerance, the humility to listen to we the people.
Okay.
And for years I think we've lived with it. We've just been okay with it. But for the first time, what we are seeing is people are saying, you said XYZ during the campaign period, and we are now 3 years into, your rulership or your reign. And when we bring up what you said few months during the campaign period into the election, you then ask us, but these things were also there in the previous government. So what was the point of electing you then, if the same problems were in the previous government, which we could live by, are still the same ones you subject us to?
Okay.
Yeah.
I hear you. So the gist of, if I get the thing at the core is, you made promises you did not keep. You lied to us. Is that correct?
In one word, it would be accountability. That's just...
Yeah, so accountability. You promise XYZ stadiums. I think the current administration, in terms of development, of course they were to complete the stadiums and many other things. There was a very long list of goodies that were promised by politicians, and then they come to us, and say, look, for us to pay these goodies, we got to get some more taxes from you.
Yeah.
Let me ask about taxes. Can taxes be too high? And when we say taxes are high, what exactly do we mean? Compared to what?
Okay.
That's an economic question. I know it's very complex, but let's wrestle with it. Matthew, you seem to have something.
Okay, since first to answer the solution, you've said you have asked something about the solution.
Yes.
I think we first should restructure our academic system, education system.
Mm-hmm.
We have been raised to believe that the solution for everything is goes to school, study hard, get a good job, get an increase in salary. But I think that should change. Mm-hmm. We should just go to the roots. We should be trained in a manner like China. When you come out of school, whether you drop out of school from class 7 or class 8, you can practice something and create your job and do something.
Mm-hmm.
No, sincerely speaking, if we say that the government has to create job for everybody, it is not possible. Even if we promise. The problem is promise, but it is not possible. But if all of us come from the point of entrepreneurship mindset, growing from childhood, knowing that there is nothing for me, it is I myself to work towards achieving particular goals, self goals, right from school.
Right.
Number 2, we are also supposed to develop a system whereby these taxes see the worth of the taxes.
Okay.
Yeah. Then again, do you know that taxes are being paid? The reason why people are crying for taxes, the people crying for taxes are the employed.
Okay.
The people who have employed people, they don't rant for taxes. They don't even blame taxes, because people who are employed, most of the people who have employed people, the employers, most of the time, they don't earn from taxes. They are not being taxed, because any employed person is being taxed 33 or roughly 33% of the total salary.
Okay.
So you pay the government before you pay yourself.
Okay.
But people who have employed others, their taxes are limited. Maybe 5% VAT, withholding, VAT, something like that. And this person will still run with the business. And also people who are elite in the business, you know you are an economist, you know these things. People who are in the level of investors or investors, they most of the time, even their money, they take loans. They operate with loans. Yeah. Because something like loan is least taxed.
Okay, well, we could go into the complexity of who gets taxed what.
Yeah.
But Levi, let me ask, and that's the question, as we kind of like wrap up this first session. Taxes are too high. How do you resolve that problem?
Off camera, I told you I was not very good in my economics class.
Yes.
But be as it may, I will try to reason it a little bit into that question.
Yes.
Omondi is a good friend of mine and is my brother.
Yeah.
But part of his sentiments, I do not agree with. It sounds like whatever he's describing is part of the utopian rhetoric that is sold to the Kenyan masses. When they tell us, places such as, what we are saying is, Kenya is fit, Kenya is okay, Kenya is able. By the way, we have whatever systems that are there, they can work. Because as he intimated, it has happened before. And he mentioned one able Mwai Kibaki. right? His Excellency. So what we know is that whatever we are championing for, the system, we've seen these systems work before. He's talked about education, restructuring the education system. Kibaki did that when he brought in free education. But the times we are living in, I don't know how the restructuring that has happened, if you were to talk to a grade 9 parent, the sentiments that parent will give you based off that sort of restructuring are not positive. They're not beneficial. They're not profitable. So to just answer your question briefly, I'd say taxes are too high. I don't think there is a ceiling. I may not speak myself. I may not speak on it definitively, but I think what the key in that is we must get a value in whatever it is we are giving.
Okay.
However much it is, there must be the return of it must be something of value.
Okay.
That's simply what we're
the
saying.
value must be seen.
Yes, there must
Absolutely.
be value. Yeah.
Okay, so and there you are. We got to take a short break. I have on the set here one Levi, Ndonga, and Matthew Omondi, and these young men, you know, they are saying it as it is. So let's take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to read your comments on the Facebook pages. Please stay connected. Keep sharing. We're going to be acknowledging your views shortly. So let's take a short break. Don't go away. We are coming back in 2 minutes time. Right.
Kenya, are you ready? This July, all roads lead to Uhuru Park Gardens, Nairobi City, for the Standing Strong Conference 2025, happening July 17th to 19th from 9 a.m. daily. Here is how to register for free using your phone. Open your phone's camera or QR scanner application, hold it still over the QR code on this screen or in any of our adverts. Viewing on your phone? First, screenshot the code, then scan it from your gallery. Tap the link that pops up. Quickly fill in your details and tap submit. Scan now to register free. Standing Strong Conference 2025. Be there.
Well, praise the Lord. My name is Apostle David Juma, the convener for Standing Strong Conference that is coming up July 17 to 19 in Uhuru Park Gardens. I want to welcome you for a life-changing moment. We're looking forward for all leaders and all saints and believers to stand strong in the kingdom. And this conference will build you up and prepare you to become functional and very accurate in your ministry. And together with all these wonderful ministers of the gospel, men and women, we welcome you.
Standing Strong 2025 Uhuru Park Edition.
Yeah!
Welcome back. This is the Gigi Report, and thank you every one of you that is tuned in. We are having a conversation here on this particular show live from the Elevate TV studios, and I want to thank, before I get my guests to to start addressing some of the other questions we have here, I want to thank those of you that are following. I can see Promise Ndonga, that must be somebody related to one of my guests here, ready and set. Oh yeah, she was ready at the very beginning. I have Elizabeth Marome Wendo tuned in from Narok, Joshua Ndonga tuned in, Apostle Charles Ndonga. Hey, the whole family is here. Very interesting conversation here. Very enlightening. And then Daniel Nyundo, I think he realized the question I asked about taxes. So he's thrown in some. Taxes are for financing public development. We have seen less of what and more of corruption. We have seen less of that and more corruption. If genuine development is witnessed and corruption is extinguished, would have no complaint. And I think that's really the issue. Corruption obviously is a big malaise in this country, and so that's really a very serious problem. So now, before I read the other comments on the YouTube side of things, and thank you, Jim, for joining us. I want to ask this question of what's the end game? So we've seen protest after protest. We have had two very ugly, deadly protests. And I think some people look at me, they see my comments, and they are wondering, why is Gigi not being emotional? He must be with our enemy. That kind of thing, because I don't seem to kind of like get sucked into the emotional bandwagon and maybe weep. Maybe I should actually just cry a few tears so that people can see I'm empathizing. But that be that as it may, what exactly is the reason? What's the end game? It's a very open question, Levi.
Oh.
What should happen for this to come to an end?
Okay. I think when we first started, I should have highlighted just something briefly, which is what I believe is a problem. Because for us to be able to agree on a amicable solution,
right,
we must first agree on what the problem is.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting this is entirely the problem, but what I think from my perspective could be the problem.
Yeah.
I surmise that Kenya has a leadership crisis, and it is one in threefold, whereby we see it within the family level, the national level in terms of government, and also in a spiritual level in terms of those who sit in positions of leadership of our faith or spiritual lives. And we see it play out in very many ways in each of those clusters: family, national, and even in the spiritual spaces.
Okay.
So we must come to a place whereby we first of all agree that there is a problem somewhere in all those areas. But directly to this conversation about the government and national space, I think what we were saying earlier, that people must be held accountable. We must refuse to just live the way we've been living. And when I say refuse, I do not mean more protests.
Okay.
Because like you I've also been branded as someone who seems to be very pro-protests and very pro-demos and pro-whatever.
Yes.
But my position...
You're a troublemaker.
I like to be provocative.
Yes.
But my position is simply, we must be men and women, especially those who are in the position of leadership, who can be extremely accountable, not just to what we say, but how we carry ourselves. There is a question that is being asked around. Everybody is asking, who is the leader of this thing?
Yeah,
let's call it.
The thing. It's being called.
At this point, we don't even know what it is. It looks it's just something that is happening.
Yeah.
And one of the things I like to say is that, well, we already have a leadership in place in the sense of it's a constitution. That's one. All of us must subject ourselves, both the political elite and the people, to what the contract I was talking about. You've talked about demos and looting and all that stuff. Those are the things I'm saying. Those elements, the fact that it is my right to go to protest or to picket or whatever.
Article 37.
Yes. But at the same time, that right or that freedom can be limited at the place whereby I use that to loot or to harm others or to steal or do all these things. But even in that space, it does not warrant then that the solution to that is that to shoot people, because the same constitution has given us guidelines on what, because we have a criminal act. If somebody is found to be stealing, there is what the law has prescribed how we should deal with that person. But we cannot start making pedestrian laws, you know, and I'm now beginning to sound provocative.
Yes, so go ahead.
We cannot start making pedestrian laws by the road and start saying that from now on the new law is, if this happens, this is what happens.
Okay.
And in that, whatever thing you're giving as a solution, it is also impeding on many other rights and laws that are there for the person. So the solution to this, or the end game to this, is one, there must be strategic mobilization and rallying of not just the young people, but the Kenyan people. We must do a lot of civic education and tell people, for example, my prediction is in the next election cycle, there will be many young people who will throw themselves into the ring as aspirants, MCAs, members of parliament, blah, 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 blah. That is what we want. The fact that we don't have the same, should I say, demagogues that have always been there before and even after. They seem to be there yesterday, today, and
the
forever.
same old faces.
Exactly. And they don't seem to be, nothing seems to be changing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Then, I mean, Matthew, I don't know whether you agree with Levi about his, diagnosis of what exactly the problem is and what the end game is.
Yeah, for me, there's some of his sentiments that I really agree with, like the one for people to be sensitized, especially concerning their rights and what's happening. I also agree to the fact that the Constitution of Kenya guarantees us right to life. So meaning that nobody's life should be cut short whatsoever. That's why the judgment that was there for hanging people was scrapped out of the Constitution. I don't know whether it's still there. It's not there.
Capital punishment.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Let me not comment.
So in other words, everybody has got the right to live, right for life.
That is guaranteed by the
That is guaranteed by the Constitution.
Yes.
We take it.
Yes.
And again, sensitization, we take it. But here comes the problem. There is a guy who one of these days posted something, and he said for us also to manage our political space as young people, we must be in the room, we must be in the house where all these activities are happening. Number one, for example, if today something happens that all of us, the Gen Zs, become the president, becomes the MP, become the MCS, everything, I'm telling you, the system will collapse again. Why am I speaking like that? This thing will need an intergenerational coordination.
Okay.
Whereby the Gigi generation, the Matthew generation, and the upcoming generation works cordially to know the factors that has been affecting the system, whereby even these people who are, we call the political elite, some of them are, I can use the word that have been used, the political scavengers. Some are in the government, some are in the opposition. They are opportunists. They find every move by young people and they jump into it.
Right.
And once they have jumped into it, they invoke their agendas. That's why in the 2024 June protest, from morning to around midday, it was about selfie, it was about going and championing, and there was good pressure for the government and even for the people. I don't know what changed in the middle of the day, and downtown here things were not the same. I remember that thing very well.
Yeah.
So what I can say, we need our people. Apart from shouting must go, Ruto must go, whoever must go, or whoever must come in. Remember, these people, they are the same people. They have just changed the forest.
Okay.
I am assuring you, Pastor Gigi, we are here today. If the same Rigiji joins, becomes the president whatsoever, or the likes of President Matiang'i, or the current president maintains his stand and be the president, I'm telling you the same thing. There will be a handshake and there will be a handshake. And after that, the same cries that are being made by the young people will still be there. Until the Gen Zs, we the young people, start to forward march our people and tell them, you know what, go vie for the MP in your area, go vie for the MCA, go try governor, go try Senate. Now from that point, we are targeting the presidency. We will easily do whichever thing we want to do in this country.
Okay. You know, there's something I've been puzzling about, and I want to ask you what you think about it. When during the Gen Z, after the Gen Z protest of June 25, 2024, you know, it was traumatizing. It was so vicious. I mean, and the outcome, you know, somehow the Gen Z seems to have generated, and I don't really think that we can say that was exclusively Gen Z protest. I mean, it was a protest, and many people came into the picture. So it isn't just one small generation. I mean, for that's a fact. There was a shift. Something changed. The president actually dissolved his cabinet, and all that, and everybody was waiting with bated breath for kind of like a reorganization of government and fresh faces and all that, right? Gen Z seems to have achieved some level, or that protest seems to have achieved some level of outcome. Do you think that somehow some level of kind of, you know, one side feeling, we got you guys, right? And you have to bow down to us. And now what I see, the repeat right now is like, by the way, we can actually even knock you off, you know, your high horse, and the chest thumping. One side accusing the other of chest thumping, the other side saying you must go. How do you resolve that?
Maybe I can first respond to something you said, and I think you've been able to tie it, even if loosely, a bit of my thoughts.
Yeah.
You see, the labeling, Gen Z protest.
Yes.
I do not agree with that entirely.
All right.
Okay. The reason why I'm saying that is because, like I said at the beginning, it needs people to take up that cause. It is maybe by God's providence that the people who took up that cause were the young people. But between that moment and where we are now, it has become a national conversation. Right. It's no longer about just the young people.
Right.
The young people might still be the ones with the energy to go to the streets. But these young people are living with their guardians, their parents, they are in their workplaces. Everybody is talking about it. So I think at this point we must divorce the idea that this is just a Gen Z thing. Because in that, we are able now to despise the effort of it. Because I think even the good book has declared itself. It is very, by virtue of you being a young person, one of the things that the good book describes is that do not despise. So by virtue of being young, you are able to be despised. So the more we continue labeling it as a Gen Z thing, the more it gets despised and people don't get to be heard and so on and so forth. But I think where we are going with this is we must agree that yes, there is a need for a cohesiveness, all of us, into whatever it is we're supposed to do. But at the same time, there must be some irreducible minimums. And those are the solutions I'm trying to say. When I say I don't agree with Brother Omondi, when he says an intergenerational sort of dialogue thing, you do not need to be from whatever generation to maintain the rule of law.
Okay.
You understand? By virtue, okay, in Kenya, as long as you're 18, we treat you as an adult.
Right.
Whether you're 18 or you're 80 or 56 or 90, the rule of the law is just the rule of the law.
It applies to
it applies to everybody. So, and again, just to speak a bit about young people, the idea is that young people are clueless. But I think that is the most, obsolete of opinions ever.
Right.
Because, for example, let me give you just a practical example. There's a very big percentage of young people here in Kenya, and even we've seen reports online, who do what we call academic writing.
Right.
And we know what that is.
Yes.
You have a big, a good sum of people who have dedicated themselves into whatever that line of career is, which means they interact a lot with reading and research and analysis and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Those are the people who are going to the streets because they have a consciousness about the fact that they interact and all that stuff. So to just declare that this, because people are young, they do not know what they are doing, therefore we need the help of the elderly to assist them, which I'm not against. That's why I said, whether you're 18 or whether you're 80, the rule of the law is just the rule of the law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, let me jump in there. One of the prominent politicians who is forever on TV, you know, he was screaming about, you know, you're killing our young people, you're killing our children, and our children. You guys have been called children. Are you guys children? The political elites,
Exactly.
the same political elites you guys are against, are calling you children.
Yeah.
Is that a way of marginalizing you, silencing you, or something
Yes,
like that, or
yes.
putting you in your place?
It's a labeling, yeah.
I think what also Levi should also understand,
Yeah.
I was not speaking intergenerational in terms of seclusion.
Uh-huh.
I was speaking in that line of inclusivity. That the channel, we should know what they know about politics, they should know what our hearts needs as the young generation, and we should also know what other people will, who are coming, have concerning leadership.
Yes.
So what I can also say, you see, there is a story is being told. When I was in high school, one of the meetings, there was a story of a young man who used to be troublemaker in the school, in the boarding.
You're right.
And finally enough, this boy, at their home, they were very poor. But used to shout a lot that we want TV in school. So one day there was an issue with the generator and even the lighting system, the power system.
Okay.
So he insisted and forced people to go to demos.
Right.
So after demo, the principal himself took him to their home place. And when they reached the home place, they realized that this guy, even at their home, even food to put on the table was a problem.
Yes.
So what do I say? Some of this movement, there are people who have also infiltrated, who they know very well that they don't mean well for the absence of what's happening in the country. Their agenda is also to destroy other people's property. For example, what happened in one of the supermarkets, I think in Central. I heard the story of how that supermarket has been providing even school fee support to the community, helping the needy, such a thing. And somebody else is going. So my surprise is, how did it happen that when they announced that return these things after 14 days, now these things are available to be returned? Meaning that in the midst of these of us, the young generation who are pursuing justice, as we said, there are also people who are pursuing the agenda, and they sing the same tune, similar to the quest for justice. And I spoke of something called political scavengers, both outside the government and inside the government. They are also singing, they tend to be singing the same music and flowing with the lyrics. You think that they are part of it. I can still say the same thing. Those people, they are not part of us. And if as a whole generation we want to pursue the cause of justice, there is a mess already. We have to put off these people out of the game, except the few people who are clean, because we know we can't miss some people who are also clean.
Absolutely. And I think there is confusion. You see, that's the place where I get very disappointed when I see convolution of things. You know, things getting muddled so much that that whatever maybe we say a peaceful demonstration, it's actually not peaceful. And even after the demonstration, which was violent and deadly, comes out, one group says this was very peaceful, the other group says this was very destructive. Now, but I just want to make sure that I read a few comments and then I'll come back to you, Levi. On the YouTube, thank you very much indeed. Those of you that are following this, Charles Karaoke, watching live, following the conversation, Karen Mwihaki, Busolo is also following, David Kingola, Maina Morgan, watching live from Embakasi. Thank you, Maina. Morgan says there is a lot of background noise, so I think we'll deal with that. Thank you, Maina, for the feedback. Delta Spencer saying, Levi Ndonga, you are nailing it on the head. Oh, wow. That is interesting. Mogera official watching, and Nefat Moshero, nice show. Somebody else, Maina, that's a Maina. Morgan says, Levi, keep hammering it, man. I think you have a champion here. This Maina guy. What Levi has said regarding getting value for our taxes is undebatable. I totally agree with you, and you guys are making a demand, and then the same guy adds, in such times it is it's key to have logic and say things as they are. This generation goes slow for excuses and with the more focus on integrity or promise. All right. Karen Kibuchi saying, enjoying the engagement with the young guys. I like this thought line. Delta Spencer adds that James Orengo said, when power gets into your head, forget there is a higher power. You forget that there is a higher power than you. That's the current situation. All right. I think you can tell, people are engaging. Thank you very, very much for engaging with us here as we kind of like come to wrap up this. So, Levi, so we've been asking ourselves what's the end game, and I think you've alluded to the fact that I think people need to come to the table, and maybe that's the other issue. I would say he stopped short of saying if you are not at the table, you are on the table, you are the menu. If you are not sitting there. And of course, like I said, there are all those people who are calling you guys children. I guess that's a way of just telling you guys have nothing to offer. You're children, for goodness sake. And the politicians are accusing each other of using the so-called children, which you are not. So now that you're here, I think I want you to speak for yourself. Levi, what is your call? What is your call? How do we get to the end of this? What can be done? I mean, when you think about it, the one call you can make to the people of Kenya, I mean, what do you think?
That's a weighty, that's a weighty thing.
Yeah.
But I've really been taking a lot of time to think about it because I think I agree with what my brother is saying. At the end of the day, we must also be baptized in a certain conviction. And I think for us young people, which I think also what you're trying to say, all these infiltrations and stuff, is that a lot of us may have taken up a cause that we are not baptized into. That sounds like a preacher speaking, but what I mean is, whatever age, whatever tribe, whatever place you come from, we must all have a conviction towards driving this country to where we know it's supposed to be. I come from the church space, and one of the things that is said within the church space is that Kenya is a springboard of revival. Now, what is the practicality of that? Aside from burying our heads in the sand, and I say this with a lot of caution and humility, sometimes we bury our heads in the sand by just maintaining it in terms of prayers and keshas and national prayer breakfasts and all that stuff. But we deny that conviction and that cause the practicality of it. Esther must fast, and at the same time she must appear. Samson must maintain his Nazarene, his priestly expectations, but he also must be at the gate to uproot it. Okay. What we are saying simply is, and I'm now speaking from my capacity as a church person, a church guy, a church boy. Mm-hmm. And this because you're asking me what is my call. Mm-hmm. My call is simply, all of us, okay, not all of us, most of us are void of a conviction. We are not baptized into whatever it is we think or we know Kenya to be. Mm-hmm. If at all those who in the church spaces claim that Kenya is a springboard of revival, can we be baptized into that conviction, into that consciousness? And what that means is, it's not just about being available for Sunday service and Wednesday Bible study, which by the way I'm doing a lot of Bible studies in this Nairobi city. Is what I'm doing on my pastimes. But we must also be willing and alive to certain realities and consciousness. That yes, we can have people, like you were saying, in the political spaces. We can have people in the health spaces. All these areas that are important, people must get into them, and they must be baptized into that consciousness that yes, Kenya is a springboard of revival, for example. But how I get to actualize that and to make that a reality is by doing X, Y, Z. But you cannot do that if you have not have any conviction.
Absolutely. Conviction is important. Matthew, so what do you think needs to happen? What needs to change? What needs to happen? How can we get some kind of resolution to this situation?
Well, for me, what normally sounds big is, for me, from my perspective or point of view, is this thing that they call dialogue. If it has to happen, we don't want to see people who are already in the same space telling us that we want to dialogue. At the same time, if it is a dialogue, it is high time we also, the outside space, who have not defined themselves to be maybe associated with particular group, whether they were Munyoro or the government, we should come out and sit down. We are the people who are now supposed to sit down and talk. Yeah. Then again, I'm also insisting on the same thing. If we ban everything, where will we start again?
Okay.
Check on Gaza, even for the external purposes.
Right.
For me, being that I'm more alienated to the economical side of life. And
Yeah,
the spiritual life.
you have a job to protect. You have trucks to sell and construction to get involved in.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like seeing construction. I love seeing things that are going that way. And I also like to see my generation, including me, growing to the space whereby I can also build and I can also acquire the same thing. So this calls both the political space and the people who are crying, which is with the people, to come to the table. And again, I will repeat, if you are not in that room, you will not be able to manage that room. So it takes us also as young people to mobilize ourselves from every corner, from every street. And we know people who are politically, ideologically oriented towards politics, so that we can just embrace them to go and stand for MP, and that parliament, when it will be full with the sober minds, people are not boasty, things will change.
Absolutely. In fact, because you know we're kind of running out of time, there is one comment that has come in here from Amunga Kut. Amunga, I know him. Kuta George. The young people should not come on the table, but should come with the table.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so the young people are saying we are coming with the table. We own the table. It's not just coming to the table. Esther must fast, but also must appear. I like that. So, and I think you're the one, Levi, who has said that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've just remembered one thing.
Yeah.
There is a saying that when you are playing the how do we call it? The draft.
Yeah.
Let me call it.
The game, the draft game.
The draft game. If you don't know the loser, you are the loser. The same thing is happening.
Yeah.
The game that we are playing, if we don't know the loser, then we are going to be eaten.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because we have just about 2 minutes. So I wanted to wrap this up, and I still want to go back. Is protest, because it's like a hammer. Is protest the only tool we can use to hammer the current political elites out of their space, and then of course his dialogue? So we have two tools: protest until they agree to come to the table, and we also come with the table. Is there a third option?
Certainly, the elections.
Elections.
That is, you know, msema kweli. So, and I think what the young people are saying, let's not conflate what the masses are saying and what the opposition is saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because there is this mixing that has happened where we think what the masses and what the opposition are saying is the same thing. There is a very big line between what the masses are saying and what the opposition is saying. What the masses are saying is like, let's hold everyone accountable. And I think we should be keen to hear what the masses are saying, because at the end of the day, hao ndio wametupatia kazi.
Okay.
In whatever level. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Matthew, your parting shot?
I will just go back to the civic education. Let people be educated. Let there be exposure of what the evil which is outside and which is inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to wrap this up. Thank you everyone for participating, joining us in this conversation. We've run out of time. We got to wrap up. We'll get another chance. So keep it elevated as usual. I've been your host, Godfrey Gichuki. I've enjoyed my time with these young people. And you know, they know ideas. They have their own, conversation. And we bless the Lord for that. May the Lord bless you. And let's keep praying for this nation. And like Esther, we pray and fast, and then appear at the table. And when we appear at the table, I believe things will change. God bless you so much. Have a good evening. We'll see you another day. Bye for now.